Okay. Hey. What's up? I actually, um, am just making kind of an update video and actually a request video. Um, Someone had asked me how I came to the decision and kind of some background on me and why I made the decision or when I made the decision to actually transition. Um, so, I'm making that video. Um, where to start? I know when I was younger, when I was really younger, um, the only kids that I played with were boys. My cousins mostly, because I didn't go when I was really young, because I didn't go to preschool before kindergarten. So I spent a lot of time playing with my boy cousins, and I always just kind of felt like I was one of them, and I was always very jealous at the fact that they could pee standing up. So I taught myself how to pee standing up. Um, but I'm from Indiana, kind of a smallish town, I guess. It's kind of a college town. It does have a university in it. So I'm not talking like small town, like 3 stores and a school. Um, there was 2 high schools, a couple universities, and lots of elementary schools. If I had to guess, I would say maybe 200,000, somewhere around there. Was the town that I grew up in, and growing up, I was an only child until I was 8 years old. My mom and dad, they were very young when they had me. I was actually born 6 days before my mom's 16th birthday, and my dad was 19, 19, or just about to turn 20. So he was 4 years older than her, and they met when my mom was 12 and my dad was 16. And back then, I know that sounds weird now, but back then that wasn't really abnormal. Um, and back then, just to kind of give you an example of when that was, I'm 29 years old, so I was born in 1980. Um, so I was an only child. Definitely had only child syndrome up until my brother was born, and I guess because I was a little bit older, 8 years old when he was born, there was a little bit of jealousy, not too much. It just and it was just the 2 of us. I only have a brother, no other siblings, and I would say growing up, I was very I would have to be considered tomboy. I was always considered a tomboy, and I never had boyfriends or anything like that. I wasn't interested in boys in that way. I was always interested in girls for as long as I can remember. Um, and then I would say I had my first girlfriend and my first experience sexually with a girl when I was 12. And from then on out, it was just girlfriends. um, but I think I always knew when I was younger that there was something different about me. And even when I was 11 and 12 and knew what the term lesbian meant, I still didn't fully identify that way. It still never felt truly right. And not that there's anything wrong with being a lesbian or being gay or anything like that. All my friends are gay and lesbian. But I just never truly felt that was right, but I didn't know at the time what it was that I was feeling. And I knew that I wasn't straight because I knew that I wasn't attracted to boys. So it was definitely a long battle, and I think when I was about 14 or 15, I saw a special on television about transgendered people, and there was, in particular, a couple of FTMs on that documentary, and I think that was definitely a moment of realization for me, um, and I really identified with the people in that documentary and their life story. It sounded a lot like mine in the way they felt about their bodies and their self-image. Was always something that I had felt. And growing up in the town that I grew up, um, of course, I didn't personally know anybody that was transgendered. When I was 21, I moved to New York City with a girlfriend at the time, or a girlfriend that had lived there. So yes, I U-hauled it to New York City, or more properly, I actually Greyhounded it. Whatever I could take on the Greyhound is what I moved with to New York City. And I lived there for a few years. But when I had first moved there, I had met a that's lame in the song. What the hell? Sorry, but so I met one of my girlfriend's exes, who was biologically female and was female while they dated. He was in the early stages of transitioning when I met him from female to male, and that was my first true experience with personally knowing someone who was transgendered. And I would say it, that was 2001, would have been the year, and I really identified with this person, and I mean, I won't mention any names or anything, but I really identified with his struggles, and I really respected his decision to be true to himself. And of course, now this is 6 years later from me seeing that documentary and realizing myself that I am transgendered, and never having the courage to tell anybody this. I kept this to myself for at least 6 years. There was a brief conversation with my then girlfriend after meeting this person, that I did identify with a lot of the ways that he thought about his self-image and his body. As I started going through puberty and developing breasts, which I actually started developing those at a very young age. I was probably 10 when I started developing breasts and got my period. And that was prior to watching this documentary and realizing who I was. This was a very dysphoric experience for me, although I wouldn't have called it then at that time, because I didn't know why. I didn't know why I always felt so sad when I got my periods. I didn't know why I didn't want to be around anybody. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't get cramps or anything like that. Thankfully, my periods were very irregular. Sometimes I would skip 3, 4, and 5 months, and sometimes I would have 3 or 4 months regular periods in a row. But they were never consistent. Some days it would be 2 days long. Some days it would be some months it would be 10 days long. So it was always ever changing and never regular. And it felt like I was on the outside of myself looking in on myself. And I couldn't connect with myself or with my body. And especially when I started developing breast, I loathed my body. I feared looking in the mirror at myself naked, because it didn't feel right, and it felt like I was being betrayed by somebody or something, Mother Nature, I don't know. But I just felt lost, and especially upon having the realization that I am transgendered, that those feelings just got worse, and I became severely depressed when I would get my periods, and try to put on a happy face and move on about my life, but it's always been a struggle to have my periods, and it looks like this is going to be at least a two-parter, because I'm at like almost 10 minutes, so see you in a minute.